Hello, and welcome to our culinary medicine presentation on nutrition for hypertension. We are Marshall University dietetic interns, Rachel Brinkerhoff, Tyler Payne, and Sarah Kate Russell. After participating in this session, attendees should be able to discuss diet and lifestyle changes associated with lowering blood pressure, identify components of the DASH diet, and understand the role of potassium, magnesium, sodium, and calcium in lowering blood pressure.
When discussing nutrition for hypertension, dietitians have the most leverage at the pre-hypertensive stage or between stage 1 and stage 2 before medication intervention is required. Below is a chart of blood pressure ranges from the American Heart Association. Listed here are some of the effects of prolonged and uncontrolled high blood pressure. Therapeutic lifestyle and diet changes can positively impact all of these negative symptoms and side effects of hypertension. Hypertension is an issue that plagues our nation. As you can see, almost half of the population has high blood pressure. The amount of money spent on healthcare costs and the number of deaths related to hypertension is on the rise. In 2018, hypertension contributed to almost 500,000 deaths, and only 25% of people with hypertension have their condition under control. Although it can be genetic, it is one of the most preventable risk factors that contributes to heart disease, which means with education on proper lifestyle and diet changes, these statistics can be lowered. In West Virginia, 1 in every 3 adults have hypertension. This should hit home to some of you. This is our community, friends, and family that are contributing to these statistics. Therapeutic lifestyle changes have potential to change this vicious cycle. Poverty increases the chance of poor quality of life. These low-income individuals are consuming more processed food items, whether it is related to income, lack of access to healthy food options, food preference, or what is readily available to them. These foods are typically high in fat, sugar, calories, and sodium. These aspects of processed food items also contribute to risk for hypertension.
Listed here are the risk factors associated with developing hypertension. Some of these are out of our control. However, there are several modifiable risk factors. These include a lack of physical activity, an unhealthy diet, obesity, alcohol intake, tobacco use, and a high stress level. Most of these can be managed through diet and lifestyle changes. Now we are going to talk about the various ways that hypertension can be treated through diet and lifestyle changes.
Weight management is one of the most effective ways to reduce blood pressure in conjunction with adherence to the DASH diet. Studies have shown that weight loss is associated with decreased blood pressure. As you can see, a loss of 1 kilogram of body weight resulted in a decrease in blood pressure by 1 millimeter of mercury. A 2 kilogram weight loss over a 6-month period was associated with an even greater decrease in blood pressure. Physical activity is another key contributor in weight loss. Listed are the physical activity guidelines for adults.
The dietary approaches to stop hypertension, also referred to as the DASH diet, is rich in fruits, vegetables, fat-free milk products, whole grains, and lean protein. It places an emphasis on reducing the consumption of processed foods. Decreasing processed food intake reduces the amount of sodium, added sugar, and trans fat in the diet. It encourages the consumption of potassium, calcium, magnesium, and fiber, which are known to reduce blood pressure. The main focus of this diet is consuming a variety of healthy foods. This can aid in weight loss, which will help to further lower blood pressure. The first study ever published on the DASH diet found that a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and low-fat dairy products, combined with a reduction of saturated fat and total fat, significantly lowered blood pressure. Further studies have found that the DASH diet can lower systolic blood pressure by 6 millimeters of mercury and diastolic blood pressure by 3 millimeters of mercury. The DASH diet in combination with lifestyle changes will have the greatest impact on lowering blood pressure. Listed here are the components of the DASH diet. It is rich in whole grains, fruits, vegetables, low-fat dairy, lean protein, and healthy fats. Additionally, it limits the intake of added sweets. Following this diet plan provides the key nutrients needed to lower blood pressure. It is best to consume a variety of foods each day to ensure adequate nutrition. The best way to start the DASH diet is through small, gradual changes like adding fruit or vegetables to a meal or snack. Another example is slowly reducing the intake of added sweets to only 5 servings per week. These small modifications will turn into positive lifestyle changes over time and eventually lead to a lower blood pressure. This will reduce the risk of atherosclerosis, brain hemorrhage, kidney failure, heart disease, and stroke. These are all conditions caused by prolonged and uncontrolled hypertension. Fruits and vegetables are a key component of the DASH diet. They contain important vitamins and minerals needed to lower blood pressure. They also contain fiber and are generally low in fat. Many fruits require little preparation. They can easily be part of a meal, snack, or dessert. If choosing canned or frozen fruit, opt for the no sugar added option or those packaged in fruit juice. Vegetables can also be eaten raw or cooked. When cooking vegetables, it's important not to overcook them because it can reduce the micronutrient content. If frozen or canned options can't be found without added salt, you can rinse them to remove the excess sodium. It's best to choose fresh fruits and vegetables, but frozen and canned provide the same nutrients. Consuming a variety of fruits and vegetables provides the nutrients needed for a healthy diet.
Whole grains are a healthier choice than refined grains. A whole grain contains the bran, germ, and endosperm, whereas a refined grain only contains the starchy endosperm. The DASH diet emphasizes the consumption of whole grains since they are low in fat and high in fiber. Some examples of whole grains that can easily be added to meals are whole wheat pasta, brown rice, and oats. When purchasing these products, look at the ingredient list for the word whole to ensure that it is a whole grain.
Listed are the key nutrients emphasized in the DASH diet. They each play an integral role in lowering blood pressure.
Omega-3s are polyunsaturated fats that must be consumed from the diet since the body cannot produce enough by itself. One benefit of consuming omega-3s is vasodilation, specifically in the coronary arteries. This can result in the improved function of endothelial cells that line the surface of blood vessels. Omega-3s have been shown to reduce risk for heart disease, hypertension, obesity, and cancer. Studies show that consuming just 2 to 3 grams of omega-3s a day can help lower both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Omega-3s are found in cold water fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, tuna, and sardines. Unfortunately, the typical American diet does not include enough fish. However, omega-3s can also be found in flaxseed, walnuts, chia seeds, and canola oil.
A diet high in potassium has been shown to lower blood pressure. When potassium intake is increased, it results in an increased excretion of sodium. This leads to reduced water retention, blood volume, and blood pressure. It is recommended for those with hypertension to consume closer to 4,700 milligrams of potassium per day. Potassium can be found in apricots, bananas, cooked spinach, fortified milk, and sweet potatoes.
Studies have been inconclusive about magnesium solely improving blood pressure. However, it can lower blood pressure when consumed with a diet high in potassium, calcium, and fiber. Other benefits of magnesium are that it can reduce inflammation and induce vascular smooth muscle relaxation. Magnesium can be found in green leafy vegetables, whole grains, and nuts. It is recommended to consume between 310 and 340 milligrams per day.
When too much salt is consumed, the body retains water in an attempt to dilute it. The excess water increases blood volume, which causes the heart to work harder. The increased effort to pump blood throughout the body by the heart puts more strain on blood vessels. Over time, this will increase blood pressure and can cause vascular damage, which can lead to atherosclerosis and increase the risk of heart attack, stroke, and heart failure. Those with hypertension should consume no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day. The bulk of sodium in the diet comes from processed foods like chips, soups, cold cuts, and fast food. These foods account for more than 70% of Americans' consumption of sodium. Decreasing the amount of these foods in the diet will greatly reduce overall sodium intake, which will help to reduce blood pressure.
Similar to magnesium and potassium, the typical American diet is low in this nutrient. Calcium intake can help regulate blood pressure by increasing intracellular calcium and vascular smooth muscle cells. This can lead to vasoconstriction by increasing vascular volume through the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system.
Calcium can be found in dairy products, leafy green vegetables, and sardines. Some foods are also calcium fortified, meaning that they have calcium added. These are foods like orange juice, cereal, soy, and almond milks. When following the DASH diet, it's important to understand how to read a food label. Reading a food label starts at the top with the serving size. This shows the size of the serving and the number of servings in the container. Next, the number of calories per serving is shown. Then it lists the macronutrients and includes cholesterol, sodium, sugar, and fiber. Added sugar is important to pay attention to. The DASH diet recommends no more than 5 servings per week. A serving size of sugar is 1 tablespoon or around 14 grams. Sodium and fiber are also important for those following the DASH diet to pay attention to. The micronutrients listed on the new food label are vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. Calcium and potassium are essential in reducing blood pressure. Magnesium is also important, but it is not listed. Therefore, it is best to consume foods that are known to be high in magnesium, like green leafy vegetables, whole grains, and nuts. The percent daily values are listed on the far right of the food label. This shows how much of the daily amount is in the serving of the food based on a 2,000 calorie diet. Next to most nutrients are the percent daily values. 5% or less is considered a low source of the nutrient. 10 to 19% is considered a good source of the nutrient, and 20% or above is considered an excellent source of the nutrient. One of the key components of the DASH diet is reducing sodium intake. Sodium intake can be reduced by cooking at home, consuming minimally or non-processed foods, and measuring salt when it is used in recipes. Cooking with less salt does not mean cooking with less flavor. Flavor is the combination of taste, smell, nerve stimulation, temperature, and texture. To add pungency to a dish, you can use peppers, mustard, wasabi, garlic, and onions. Herbs such as thyme, basil, oregano, scallions, parsley, mint, and chives can also be used to add flavor, as well as spices such as cinnamon, nutmeg, coriander, and fennel. Herbs and spices can be added to any dish. However, you can also use marinades and rubs to infuse flavor. Some common ingredients used to add flavor are shown here. These include cinnamon, parsley, rosemary, bay leaves, garlic, oregano, chili powder, and nutmeg. We have prepared 3 recipes following the DASH diet requirements. Each recipe uses a variety of flavors to add dimension to the dish without adding sodium.
The entree is orange rosemary roasted chicken. This dish is simple to make and only takes 40 to 45 minutes to bake. To make this recipe, you will need chicken breast, fresh garlic, olive oil, rosemary, black pepper, orange juice, and a fresh orange. We chose chicken for this recipe because it is a lean meat. Using fresh herbs like rosemary can create aromatics and provide a flavorful alternative to sodium when cooking. The addition of fresh garlic can help create a bold flavor. We chose to cook with olive oil since it is a monounsaturated fat and it makes for a good fat source to use in a recipe. For this recipe, start by preheating the oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Lightly coat a baking dish with cooking spray. Then mince the garlic and coat the chicken with the minced garlic and oil. Sprinkle the chicken with rosemary and pepper on both sides. Place the chicken in the baking dish and pour over the orange juice. Cover with aluminum foil and bake for 30 minutes. Flip the chicken breast using tongs, add 1 orange slice to each breast, and return to the oven until browned, about 10 to 15 minutes more. Baste the chicken with orange juice from the pan as needed.
As you can see, this recipe is low in fat and sodium. It does not contain many micronutrients, which is why it is best to serve with a variety of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. However, chicken is an excellent source of protein, which is a category on the DASH diet, making this a perfect recipe to use when following this diet. A great side to any meal is sweet potatoes and roasted bananas. For this recipe, you will need sweet potatoes, bananas, orange juice, cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla extract, and red pepper flakes. Cinnamon, red pepper flakes, and nutmeg are great spices to use to add bold, warm flavors to any dish. The vanilla extract and bananas can add sweetness to the dish without adding additional sugar. The sweet potatoes add magnesium and starch to the plate. To make this recipe, you will first need to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Then lightly coat a baking dish with cooking spray. Next, use a fork to poke several holes in the rinsed sweet potatoes before placing them in the oven for 1 hour. Once they are done, remove from the oven and allow to cool before peeling. While that is cooling, place the banana halves in the prepared baking dish and bake for 15 minutes. Then mash the bananas with orange juice using a hand masher. Finally, add the banana mixture, peeled sweet potatoes, vanilla extract, and spices to an electric mixer and blend until smooth. Return this to the oven until it is warmed through, about 5 to 10 minutes. Like the chicken, this recipe is also low in fat and sodium. It is an excellent source of potassium, magnesium, and fiber. Plus, it adds color and a different texture to the meal.
A great addition to any meal is a salad. For this recipe, you will need an English cucumber, spinach, black pepper, rosemary, balsamic vinegar, olive oil, and Dijon mustard. We chose non-starchy vegetables like cucumbers because they are high in potassium, and spinach because it is an excellent source of magnesium. Using strong herbs like rosemary adds flavor without adding any additional salt. Olive oil was chosen because it is a monounsaturated fat, which is a healthier fat source. Dijon mustard provides a tanginess to the recipe that helps create more of a bold flavor. To make this, you will first need to chop both the cucumber and the spinach. Then, in a small saucepan, add the rosemary, vinegar, and olive oil. Heat over very low heat to blend and intensify the flavors, about 5 minutes. Remove from the heat and whisk in the Dijon mustard until well blended. In a serving bowl, add the cucumber slices and spinach. Pour the dressing over the salad and toss to coat evenly. Add the black pepper to taste. Refrigerate for at least 30 minutes before serving.
This recipe is also low in sodium. It does contain a little bit more fat than the other recipes. However, olive oil is a healthier fat source. This recipe also contains important micronutrients such as potassium, iron, and magnesium. It also adds a crunch and a nice green color to the plate. With all 3 recipes on our plate, we have a flavorful meal that includes many components of the DASH diet. This meal features lean protein, healthy fats, fruits, and vegetables. It is full of fiber, potassium, and magnesium, while low in sodium. The serving sizes for this meal are 4 ounces of chicken, 3/4 cup of the roasted sweet potatoes and bananas, 3/4 cup of the English cucumber salad. Together, this meal has only 317 calories and 8.2 grams of fat. It meets only 5% of the recommended daily intake for sodium. It provides 7 grams of fiber, 62 milligrams of calcium, and 1,254 milligrams of potassium. These recipes are a perfect example of adding variety and flavor into a meal for someone following the DASH diet. Although the DASH diet has many components, it can easily be incorporated into anyone's lifestyle with proper nutrition education and motivation. We hope that you found our presentation applicable and beneficial to your practice. Thank you for your time.